Ever felt like the harder you try, the worse things get? It's a frustrating experience that many of us face. You put in more effort, work longer hours, or push yourself harder, but instead of seeing better results, everything seems to fall apart. This video will explore why this happens and what you can do about it. Let's start by looking at the paradox of effort. It's a strange phenomenon where increased effort leads to decreased results. This happens in many areas of life: work, relationships, sports, and personal goals. The more we try to force something, the more it slips away from us. It's like trying to grasp water tightly in your hand. The harder you squeeze, the more it escapes through your fingers. But why does this happen? The psychology behind this paradox is fascinating. When we try too hard, we often create stress and pressure for ourselves. This stress can cloud our judgment and make us less effective. We might start overthinking every little detail, becoming our own worst enemies. Perfectionism creeps in, and suddenly nothing feels good enough. We lose sight of the bigger picture and get bogged down in minor details that don't really matter. Expectations play a huge role in this process. When we put in a lot of effort, we naturally expect great results. These high hopes can actually work against us. If things don't go exactly as planned, we feel disappointed and discouraged. This negative mindset can create a self-fulfilling prophecy, where our fears of failure actually contribute to that failure. So what's the solution? Surprisingly, it often lies in letting go. When we relax and ease up on ourselves, we often perform better. This doesn't mean not caring or not trying at all. Instead, it's about finding a balance between effort and ease. Think about times when you've been in a state of flow, maybe while playing music, writing, or engaging in a favorite hobby. In those moments, you're focused and engaged, but not stressed or straining. That's the sweet spot we're aiming for. The art of effortless action is a concept that can help us understand this better. It's about aligning ourselves with the natural flow of things rather than constantly fighting against the current. This doesn't mean being passive, but rather acting in a way that feels natural and unforced. It's like the difference between frantically paddling upstream versus skillfully steering your boat to work with the river's flow. To apply this in daily life, start by paying attention to how you feel when you're working on something. Are you tense and stressed, or do you feel focused but relaxed? When you notice tension building up, take a moment to breathe deeply and consciously relax your body. Remind yourself that pushing harder isn't always the answer. Balancing effort and ease is a skill that takes practice. It's about knowing when to push and when to ease off. Sometimes, taking a step back can give you a fresh perspective and lead to better solutions. Other times you might need to put in concentrated effort, but in a way that feels sustainable and doesn't drain you. One powerful tool for finding this balance is mindfulness. By staying present and aware, we can catch ourselves when we're falling into the trap of trying too hard. Mindfulness helps us notice our thoughts and feelings without getting caught up in them. This awareness can prevent us from spiraling into stress and overthinking. To practice mindfulness, try taking a few minutes each day to simply sit quietly and observe your breath. Notice the sensation of breathing without trying to change it. When your mind wanders, which it will, gently bring your attention back to your breath. This simple exercise can help build your ability to stay present and focused without strain. As we explore this topic, it's important to consider how we define success. Often, our struggles come from a narrow view of what it means to succeed. We might think success always requires hard work and sacrifice. But what if success could also mean finding ease and flow in what we do? What if it meant enjoying the process as much as the outcome? By expanding our definition of success, we open ourselves up to new possibilities. Instead of always pushing for more, we can learn to appreciate where we are right now. This doesn't mean giving up on our goals, but rather approaching them with a sense of curiosity and openness rather than grim determination. The concept of flow state is closely related to this idea. Flow is a mental state where you're fully immersed in what you're doing, feeling energized focus and enjoyment. It's often described as being in the zone. In flow, effort feels effortless. You're challenged, but not overwhelmed. time seems to fly by. Accessing flow state isn't about trying harder. In fact, trying to force yourself into flow often prevents it from happening. Instead, it's about creating the right conditions. This usually involves working on something that's challenging but not too difficult, having clear goals, and minimizing distractions. When you're in flow, you're fully engaged in the present moment, not worrying about the past or future. Of course, putting these ideas into practice isn't always easy. We face many obstacles along the way. One common challenge is the belief that if we're not struggling, we're not really working. This mindset can keep us stuck in patterns of overexertion and burnout. Another obstacle is fear. Fear of failure, fear of not being good enough, fear of what others might think. To overcome these obstacles, we need to cultivate self-awareness and self-compassion. Notice when you're falling into old patterns of trying too hard. Be kind to yourself when you slip up. Remember that change takes time and practice. Each time you catch yourself and choose a different approach, you're rewiring your brain and creating new habits. Personal growth often comes through acceptance rather than force. This means accepting ourselves as we are, including our imperfections and limitations. It means accepting that we can't control everything in life. When we stop fighting against reality and start working with it, we often find that things flow more smoothly. Self-compassion is a crucial part of this process. Many of us are much harder on ourselves than we would ever be on a friend. We criticize ourselves harshly for every mistake or perceived failure. But this self-criticism often makes things worse, not better. It increases our stress and makes us more likely to give up or avoid challenges. Instead, try treating yourself with the same kindness you'd offer a good friend. When things don't go as planned, speak to yourself with encouragement rather than criticism. Recognize that making mistakes and facing setbacks is a normal part of being human. It's not a sign of failure, but an opportunity for learning and growth. We've explored the paradox of how trying harder can sometimes make things worse. We've looked at the psychology behind this, including the roles of stress, expectations, and perfectionism. We've discussed the power of letting go and finding balance between effort and ease. We've explored mindfulness, flow states, and the importance of redefining success. The goal isn't to never try or to avoid all effort. It's about finding a more effective and sustainable way of approaching our goals and challenges. It's about working smarter, not just harder. It's about aligning ourselves with the natural flow of life rather than constantly fighting against it. As you go forward from here, pay attention to how you approach tasks and challenges in your life. Notice when you're falling into the trap of overexertion. Experiment with easing up a bit and see what happens. You might be surprised to find that things work out better when you're not trying so hard to control everything. This isn't a quick fix or a one-time change. It's an ongoing practice, a new way of relating to yourself and the world around you. Be patient with yourself as you explore these ideas. Remember that small, consistent changes can lead to big results over time. The key is to stay curious and open. Observe yourself and your patterns without judgment. When you notice yourself straining or struggling, take a deep breath and ask yourself if there might be an easier way. Sometimes the solution to a problem comes not from trying harder, but from stepping back and allowing things to unfold naturally. This approach can be applied to all areas of life: work, relationships, personal goals, and even everyday tasks. Whether you're trying to advance in your career, improve your fitness, learn a new skill, or simply get through your daily to-do list, remember that ease and flow are often more effective than force and struggle. It's also important to recognize that this isn't about avoiding all discomfort or challenge. Growth often requires stepping out of our comfort zones. The difference is in how we approach those challenges. Instead of gritting our teeth and pushing through, we can learn to dance with difficulty, to engage with it in a way that feels alive and dynamic rather than draining. This shift in approach can have profound effects on our overall well-being. When we're not constantly striving and straining, we have more energy available for the things that truly matter to us. We can be more present in our relationships, more creative in our work, and more at peace with ourselves. It's about finding a sustainable way of living and achieving. In a world that often glorifies hustle and grind, choosing ease and flow can feel revolutionary. but it's a revolution that can lead to greater satisfaction, effectiveness, and joy in life. As you move forward, consider how you might apply these ideas in your own life. Where are you pushing too hard? Where might you benefit from easing up a bit? How can you bring more mindfulness and presence into your daily activities? How might your life change if you approached your goals with curiosity and openness rather than force and strain? This is a journey of exploration and discovery. There's no one-size-fits-all solution. What works for one person might not work for another. The key is to stay open, to keep experimenting, and to trust your own experience. Pay attention to what feels right for you, what brings you a sense of ease and flow. You might start by choosing one area of your life to practice with. Maybe it's a work project, a personal goal, or a relationship. Notice how you typically approach this area. Are you often tense, stressed, or pushing hard? Try consciously relaxing and easing up a bit. See what happens when you approach it with more curiosity and less force. It can also be helpful to build regular practices into your life that support this new approach. This might include meditation, mindful movement like yoga or Tai Chi, journaling, or simply taking regular breaks throughout your day to check in with yourself. These practices can help you stay grounded and centered, making it easier to maintain a sense of ease even in challenging situations. As you practice this new way of being, you may notice changes not just in your external results, but in how you feel internally. You might find yourself feeling more relaxed, more confident, and more at peace. You might discover a sense of trust in yourself and in life that you didn't have before. This doesn't mean life will always be easy, or that you'll never face challenges. But it does mean that you'll have new tools and perspectives for dealing with those challenges when they arise. Instead of immediately jumping into struggle mode, you'll be able to pause, take a breath, and choose a response that feels more aligned and effective. Remember that life doesn't have to be a constant struggle. Success doesn't always come from pushing harder. Sometimes, the key to achieving what we want lies in letting go, in finding flow, in aligning ourselves with the natural currents of life rather than constantly fighting against them. By learning to balance effort with ease, we can not only achieve our goals more effectively, but also enjoy the journey along the way. As you go forward from here, carry this question with you. How can I approach this situation with more ease and flow? Let this be your guide as you navigate the challenges and opportunities of life. You may find that when you stop trying so hard, things start falling into place in ways you never expected. This is a lifelong journey of learning and growth. There will be times when you fall back into old patterns of overexertion, and that's okay. The key is to notice when this happens and gently guide yourself back to a place of balance. With practice, this new way of being will become more and more natural. You have within you everything you need to live with greater ease and effectiveness. Trust yourself, trust the process, and stay open to the possibilities that arise when you stop trying so hard and start flowing with life. The path of ease isn't always easy, but it's a path that can lead to greater fulfillment, success, and joy in all areas of your life.